Welcome to the CWC podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the home of entrepreneurship, modern dating, interpersonal relationships, cryptocurrency, finance, current events, and much, much more. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you very much. Let's get into this. What are we doing here today? Why are we here today? Today, we have a little bit more of a different topic. We've been covering some current events and things lately. We're pivoting a little bit into just kind of some stuff that's more tailored to our mental health and how we can directly impact how we feel and what our outlook of the world is, right? Not just, your outlook on your day, your minute, your month, your week, your year is all attached to the way we feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if we could control the way we feel?
Oh, I think there's some people that would tell you can control how you feel.
There's a lot of people that would say that. You've introduced me to some of these people online. There's people who believe in energy and flow and universal energy, and how what we're going to talk about today is how our movement is attached to our mental health.
Mm.
Now, before we get started, let me go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, by the way. We appreciate it. We picked up a couple subs since the last video. We really appreciate that. It helps us out, helps out the algorithm. Again, a small channel like this, any click helps. A like, a subscribe, a dislike, a comment, something. It helps us out wonderfully.
Tap any one of those buttons.
Any of those things, guys. We appreciate it very, very much. Engagement is the magic formula over here on YouTube. So we appreciate it very much. Now, back to the topic. So before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and share a book with you. This book is called Move. This is written by Caroline Williams. I picked this up about 2 weeks ago, 2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago. I was walking around the store with my buddy and I saw it. And it was interesting because prior to me seeing this book on the shelf, I swear, in fact, I think I called you and told you, he and I were just having a conversation about how much better he and I feel by us being more active. We were actually talking about, we were doing timelining. We were looking back and we're saying, man, how long ago was it when we started that fitness routine? And we actually tied it back to a trip that he had taken to Europe. And we tied that back to a year. And then we said, well, it was about 6 months ago. So we tied it back about 18 months that we started this fitness routine that we've been on. And we both realized that we were kind of brainstorming and talking about how we felt then as compared to how we feel now. Right. And just, and
you were having your hindsight moments, putting the pieces together.
We were putting the pieces together.
How you're feeling and your health and all of that. So.
And a lot of things that come along with that. Like we were talking about, like how, not just how we feel, and being a little bit healthier, feeling stronger, feeling a little more sturdy, having better posture.
Oh, yeah.
Little things like that. But also, compliments that you get from people that you don't know, right? Like I was in the card shop a couple of days ago, and the guy that was there, I go in there and I'm, poking around. The guy knows me. We're poking around. I'm looking at some things, and he says, and me and him were negotiating on a card that I wanted to buy off of him. And, I buy stuff from him all the time. We buy and sell from each other. So we're negotiating, and he says, we were like a $2 to $3 off or something like that. And he says, well, your arms are bigger than mine. You win the bet, right? Like, just something like that. Like, and he was telling me,
nice to hear.
I'm only 6 years younger than him, but he told me he thought that I was like 16 to 20 years younger than him, because he said, dude,
wow.
you look.
So it's really hard for people to get started, that's the hard part. And the biggest thing that people talk about is that they don't have the time to do it. And we've already discussed this, that we find time and money for the things that really, really matter to us. Mm-hmm. So if you really wanted to have a workout routine, stimulate your brain, you could. If you really, really wanted to, you would make the time.
Look at the yoga people that we know. Like, I know people that go to yoga super early in the morning. And one lady I know, she tells me her yoga is indispensable to her mental health. Those are the endorphins. They're opening up. It's a high that I guess that's what, when people say natural high, I mean, I guess that's what it is, right?
It is. I was going to say, the Bible says when two or more come together, that's when he's among you and you begin a mastermind. your juices start flowing. You're able to come up with ideas and things that you didn't have before because now you're talking to somebody. Well, exercise is the same in the fact that you're connecting with the Most High, your higher self. So then you receive downloads and
Yeah.
information and thoughts and ideas that you didn't have before.
Yeah. Your brain opens up new pathways that way. So when you're active, your brain is opening up new pathways for more information to flow in, right? So if you're sedentary and you're just sitting there and you're just, you're watching TV, you're kind of stuck, your brain doesn't have any reason to do that. Right?
Yeah, it's very comfortable. It's
Right?
just at rest.
And your brain actually, that's when I was, and I thought this is probably what happens, but your brain will start turning stuff off because it'll be like, oh, you're not using it anyway. And what it'll do is it'll divert the red blood cells to other parts of your body. Your brain is way ahead of us, right?
It makes so much sense.
Your brain is working all the time. Like it's figuring out, okay, this dude comes, okay, and it knows, okay, this guy's going to come sit on the couch from this time to this time, right?
You know, it's interesting. I'm a hospice nurse, and in hospice, we teach people about modeling. And what that means is the fingers and toes and the extremities start to turn blue. Why? Because the brain says the extremities don't need the blood. The vital organs need the blood. So it shunts the blood to the heart and the kidneys and everything. So the extremities start to turn blue. That's how you know the patient is starting to die. But that is the amazing compensating mechanism of the body, that when one part of the body isn't being used, then the brain will tell the functions to go other places. So if you're not using your brain, then what?
So how does that connect to a huge problem in our society, which is mental illness? Because guys, you've seen this, almost everything now, people tie back to some kind of mental health, right? If you know that, personally, I think I've told you my feeling on that. I think a lot of people are using it as a crutch to kind of explain away their shortcomings. But a lot of those people, I bet you, that have mental health issues are lazy. I would be willing to bet.
He keeps saying that to me. He keeps telling me
they're lazy.
Like, they're lazy because if they move around, they will feel better. I promise you.
Yeah, you will. I'm telling you, it makes sense. It wasn't just me thinking, like, going back to the bookstore when I saw this book, like it happened to have, they had it up too, where like you're walking through the aisle and it was on kind of a display where it's kind of sitting in the front, right? Like a sign. This was the book you're talking about. And when I saw it, and I just read this part where it basically says how the new science of body movement can set your mind free. I was like, I'm buying this. This is exactly what I've been talking about. But here's someone who's written about it, right? So let me get, and then, so this gets way into minutia of what I was thinking, because I've been saying it for a long time. I'm not saying that it's every case. I know there's a lot of people that have a history of mental health disorders and things in their family that requires medication, stuff like that. I get that. Mm-hmm. But most of us can control our own mental health, right? Because if we believe too that we create our own realities, right?
You can control your thoughts at that point, that then controls the feeling that comes with the thought. Yeah. So if you have a thought that creeps in, that's not that good, nip it in the bud, change the trajectory, because you have the choice to. And what people don't believe is that they have the choice. They just think that things are happening to them, when you can have awareness of where your thoughts are going, and you can change it so that you can feel good, so that you can, now here I go sounding woo woo, but attract good things into your life. And how do you do that? If exercise is a component that raises your vibration, that makes your mind think clear, then why wouldn't you use it in your life?
It makes sense. I mean, and you know, we talk about things all the time. Like one of the big things I talk about is not procrastinating, right? A lot of times when we procrastinate, it's because we're lazy. Like there's something that we know we need to do right now, but we'll say I'll do it tomorrow, or we'll do it the next day.
Procrastination starts with the snooze button in the morning.
Yeah. So quick.
Guilty. Okay.
So today, for example, right? I had a little bit of time. I had only about 20 minutes to take my lunch break. And I was like, maybe I'll just work through lunch. But then I was like, nah, you know what? I kind of need to go drop this package at the post office. I don't want to wait till after the day, right? So I go to the post office and I go there. I get there, I show up, and there's this young girl in there, cute girl. she's up at the thing and she's she's like, oh, I'm here to pick up a package, whatever, right? They bring out a box. I swear to God, this girl's like 5 foot. The box was bigger than her. Like the box, there was no way that she could carry. They were going to hand her the box and the box was going to cover her up entirely. You would just see a box. So it comes out. Now it's me, her, the 2 ladies behind the counter, and 2 other ladies in the line. I'm the only guy, right? I'm a classic man. You got I say this all the time. I'm a classic man. I will not stand by and watch a lady struggle with something. I'm not going to do it. I know that people keep telling me to do that. Forget them. They don't want any of your help. These women are terrible. I'm still going to help because it's just how I was raised, right? So they're trying to hand it to her, right? So I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. I said, I'll help you out, right? So I help her out, walk her out. We get outside, help her get to her car, all those things. She was super polite. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Oh my God, you made my day. All these things. Now, if I didn't go to the post office at that time, would anybody have been there to help her? Maybe someone would, maybe someone wouldn't, right? But just that little bit of interaction, I'm sure she left there thinking, man, there are still some nice people in this world, right? And that can change her interaction with the next person that she bumps into, right?
That's how we're all supposed to be.
Yeah. See, we people, I'm talking to all of us need to get back to the help thy neighbor mindset, because what they've done here in the Matrix is they've programmed everybody to be super selfish because they don't want a sense of community. They don't want us building communities. They don't want us doing co-ops and things like that that they used to do back in the day in the communities. They want they want all men for themselves, right? They want to pit you against your neighbor and everything else.
Which creates isolation. Mm-hmm. And people being by themselves and not helping each other out and choosing to stay in their homes and not open the door for each other. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately there's less movement and there's less outdoorsiness. And there was a guy we were listening to earlier. I don't know if he's everybody's favorite guy, but he was saying some really good things about being outside, getting good sleep, roaming through nature. People used to laugh at tree huggers. You know, they used to laugh at them. I used to wonder what the tree hugging was all about, but it's an actual thing and it's actually good for your body. You trade and exchange negative ions with the ground and with the trees. So it's actually healthy for you. Getting out there, moving around and connecting with nature is something that they've tried to take away from us.
Mm-hmm. And it worked on a lot of people because a lot of people have become very reclusive, very hermity. I know people like that. They used to be outgoing folks that now, post CV-19, they do nothing.
It happened to me to some degree. Now that we're talking about it, I have to admit it because I used to say, I've become a hermit. Just trying to protect my energy, I think, was my goal because, there's a lot of energy suckers and things out there. And I was really learning who I am becoming. And it required cutting off a lot of input, but you got to come out of that. And I realized I can't be a hermit forever. It's not healthy.
You were starting to fall into depression. You were starting to be into a bad state of mind. It happens to all of us. It may be a subtle thing and we don't realize that it's happening, but eventually, over time, you start feeling like, man, I'm just, what am I doing here? Right. But sometimes the most simple thing, just saying, you know what, let me just go on a quick walk, and you just go walk your neighborhood and you hear the dogs bark or you hear an owl or whatever. And you just sometimes the wind blowing, right, can be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially by yourself and you get that moment. But if you've allowed the new post C19, behavior to grip you and you become a hermit, you're, home and you haven't gotten that workout routine and, maybe it's my weekend off and I'm going to smoke pot and lay in bed and watch movies all day, that's fine on occasion too.
Yeah. Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation.
You can, nobody's saying that you can't relax, but what we're saying is that it's a lifestyle, right? So because what happens is you have people that, okay, I'm just going to say I'm smoke pot and relax. And then that's all they do. right? They don't ever do anything other than that, right? And then it's like, wait a minute, dude, you just gonna sit here and talk about all the time? I mean, at a certain point, like everything in moderation. So you got to do even exercise. You have to rest, like especially when you get older. You can't work out every single day, right? But on the days that you're not going to the gym necessarily, you can still. I go for walks. My kids will tell you, I go for walks. I get off of work. I usually go for a walk right after work. And it really helps me with two things. It helps me decompress from the day that I've had. If you're sitting in front of you're working on a computer, you're looking at a screen, you're on the phone, you're in and all, it helps when you get out and you walk and you just breathe and you just, man, let me exhale. And you may bump into somebody I bumped into a guy. I think I told this story on a podcast way back. I bumped into a guy right out here outside my building. I was coming back from the gym. I had my hand wraps on for, my boxing glove. Him and his wife were coming down the street. He just stopped me. He said, "Hey man, do you box?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Where you box at, man? I just moved here from New York. I'm looking for a gym." And me and him had like a 45-minute conversation about boxing.
Oh, that's nice.
You see, so those little things like that, so if you're somebody who's reclusive and you're sitting home all the time and you're not involved because I don't want to deal with people and people suck and all of these things, how do you know?
But if you're reclusive, you could be that way for a bunch of different reasons. But let's say I'll use myself as an example because I recovered from my foot surgery. It was 10 months before I was walking independently. And prior to that, I had a pretty healthy lifestyle. I continued to eat well, but my activity level was nothing, dropped down to absolutely nothing. I mean, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't use my legs. So at 47, everything changed on my body like in 10 months. Like I had never worked out ever. So like ever. What do you say to someone like me who's literally starting over? I can chime in on the movement conversation because I know what it is to move. I've done it before. I'm just in a slump. What should I do? Because I'm in a slump.
Well, one thing you do that I don't do, you meditate.
Yes.
Which is in the book too, which is mind exercise, which is mental exercise. See, that's why I talk about yoga. Like yoga is not like high impact, right? But you are thinking I've never done yoga, but don't they tell you to envision this, envision that? Like, don't they tell you
a lot about breathing and
breathing
focus.
And stuff? See, so all that stuff, you're still, because you're thinking, right? You're exercising your mind, right? You're not just sitting there mindlessly watching mindless entertainment, right? Or worse, the news. Like that's even worse. Like if you're watching that, yeah, everything's bad. Like if you're watching the news, everything is catastrophically bad across the board for everything. Like you're just sitting there like, this is horrible.
Everything's bad.
And so when you go outside your door, everything's horrible because you just watched the news and they told you that everything's horrible. See? So you start to believe that. Mm-hmm. It's a self-fulfilling. We create our own realities. It's what we believe, is what we perceive, right?
Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I cut off all input for a very long time because I knew that I wasn't myself. I was something that the Matrix created, and I needed to find who I am. And I think, and I'll never say it's not, a good way to find yourself is to have some sort of workout routine, and it helps your mind grow, so to speak. It creates, like it's a new neural pathways when you get out there and you work your body. So, I need a workout partner.
She's looking for a workout partner. Hey, and listen, most of my workout partners, if y'all are watching, y'all know I talk about y'all because I can't really find nobody to keep up with me. Although my latest partner is doing pretty well, but most of my partners drop off after 2-3 weeks. Not that I'm Lee Haney or nothing like that. I'm just consistent. That's the thing with me because, like I said, a lot of these principles.
Consistency is key, yeah?
Absolutely. A lot of these principles I learned when I was in the military. They taught us about the benefits of being active. That's why they woke us up so early. And that's why we did so many things. Like we used to wonder, like, why are we us doing all this stuff?
They were reprogramming you lazy.
They were.
What's?
they would have us go, like sometimes we would go, like we would learn our boats and things or whatever, like learn how to tie knots or whatever the case may be. It's just something to get you stimulated and your mind for you learning something that we didn't know at the time, because I was 19. We're like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? But they would explain to us why, and they would talk about why the benefits of being healthy, being
waking
active,
up early.
Waking up early, the importance of eating 3 meals a day. That's why they push it. That you guys hear me talk about breakfast all the time.
He yells at me about breakfast all the time.
I will never let anyone win that argument with me. I will never let, because think about it. If you think about it, like you got military people telling you this is the most important meal. They say if you're going to skip anything, skip lunch. That's what they would tell us. If you're going to skip, don't skip breakfast. Don't skip dinner. Definitely don't skip breakfast. You skip breakfast, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure for the rest of the day. But then guess what? Most people skip breakfast.
I can't eat breakfast.
Most people, I hear that all the time. I never miss breakfast, ever. Like I'm a big breakfast person, man.
Never ready.
Because what happens is you don't eat breakfast, and then you wait till lunch, and then you want to either pig out at lunch because you're starving. So you're going to pig out, and then you're going to feel sluggish as crap back at your office. Oh, why don't you? Oh gosh, I feel I want to go home. You know what I'm saying? So it has an impact. Whereas
I don't eat that much.
Well, you don't count. Amina doesn't count. Amina doesn't eat at all. So Amina doesn't count. She doesn't eat. There's bird seed in the corner for Amina. Okay. She has eaten. But before we wrap up, guys, I just wanted to, kind of emphasize, because again, mental health is a big topic in this country, and I think
that's all they keep talking about is mental health. But the thing is they have everyone sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
So they want to get you on the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, they want to get you on Adderall.
They haven't said anything about exercise.
They want to get you on Adderall. That's what they want to get you on, because
that new diabetic medication that helps you lose weight. Have you heard about?
No.
There are people that are taking this that don't even have diabetes just so that they can lose weight.
All right.
It's horrible for your kidneys.
It's always, guys, there's all these pills. And here's what I say about pills. Y'all know how I feel about this stuff. That should be your last resort to anything.
What did they say? I heard America is 25 or 20% of the world's population, but we are 60 to 70% of the world's pharmaceutical intake.
Not surprised. Because we do.
Because our answer to everything is take a pill.
Take a pill.
It's not go outside, get fresh air, not read a book, not meditate, not go exercise, not go for a walk.
Well, they told you, during the CV-19, they told you to go take 27 jabs instead of going getting some sun and getting some exercise.
The answer is more boosters.
We just saw this. They convinced folks that it was more dangerous to go outside and get sun
at the beach.
Then go inject some unknown substance into your veins. That's what they did to folks, and folks was believing this stuff.
How many miles of atmosphere do we have?
Oh my God,
I can't stand it.
I still laugh about the argument I got into because I wanted to go to the beach, and oh my God, I was going to die if I went to the beach because the news said if you don't go outside, and people were believing this. That's what I went through. My mental health problem was when I realized that people believe this stuff. That's when
they couldn't take it anymore, and they started buying bikes. You couldn't find a bike anywhere.
I tried to buy bikes for me and my kid, and you could not get a bicycle. I was like, okay, people actually want to go outside. Look at this. People want to ride bikes. People want to go out. Yeah. People realize, man, sitting inside a house with a mask on, because there was a bunch of y'all that was sitting inside your own house with a mask on by yourself. Okay. There was a bunch of y'all doing that. There was a bunch of y'all. I remember going to my car that morning, and there's a dude. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm in my parking garage. There's no one in the parking garage. There's nobody in there. Like, it looks like something out of one of those movies. There's nobody, like P2 or something. There's no one in the parking garage. And there was one dude who was, I could see down here, and he was getting into his car, and he had a mask on. I was just like, for what? Like, I almost wanted to walk up to him and say, "Excuse me, sir, why do you have that on?"
Can I ask you?
I'm just curious.
Why is it always men that are in the car with the mask on by themselves?
That I don't know. That's a great question. Is it? Because that's a good question. because I give women a lot of wiggle room. And when I see women with the mask, I
How
say,
did we get on this mask?
I say the women are more, they're scared of more
Yeah.
things. But what is a
No.
dude? What are you doing? What you got a mask on for, bro? What for? If your lips are chapped real bad, I'll accept that as an answer. But if it ain't that,
Hey,
I don't understand it.
has a cold sore he doesn't want everybody to see.
Something like that, I understand. You went down on some bad stuff. Hey, it happens. but if you're wearing it because the news told you that there's another strand of something out there, then I really cannot help you on that.
And my belief is that if you are moving, healthy, exercising, eating the right things, then you won't need the mask.
Wow, look at that. I mean, think about it. If we had a healthy population, right?
We'd have laughed at them when they brought up this stuff.
But because we don't have a healthy population and a lot of people are overweight and on way too many pharmaceuticals, they're just getting on another pharmaceutical. It's just another pill.
They keep showing the videos of what the American population looked like in 1940, 50, 60, and even 70. There was like no fat people. Heavyweight, heavy set. What's the right word to say?
Obese.
Heavy set, obese people. They hardly existed.
They're trying to outlaw the word though. They want obese removed from the medical dictionaries.
We can't do that.
They said that it's a derogatory term.
Oh, so when we get the 600-pound man, he's not obese?
No, he's heavy set.
He requires a crane. But okay.
What is that? The dude that they had to tear the side of his house off?
That was a 1,000-pound man.
He was 1,100 pounds. That was the biggest man I've ever seen. He was bigger than his house.
He was still alive.
Which is amazing because how does his heart work? We're bumping up against the time. Thank you for being here. Tell us if you agree with us. Like and subscribe to the channel. Give us a comment. Like, subscribe. See you next time.